Still not a professional. This one. Welcome to TWIG, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show that tackles everything from Palworld to a new Rocksteady Studios with some games in between. If you're listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review. Click that like button over on YouTube, or come and listen live on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're here in Twitch, say hello. We're glad that you're here. Folks, we're going to start the show, as we always do, by answering our question of what have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been reading? And we are really asking live on Twitch, so if you're in our Twitch chat, let us know. What have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been reading? I have a special guest with me today from our level 2 members of our community, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and say what she has been watching, reading, and playing. So take it away, my friend.
Hello, tis I, the mayest of mayflies. Honestly, it's just Baldur's Gate. Has been since last August, still is. I work and I play Baldur's Gate. That's about all I do. That's pretty much it for me.
Are we still in a dirge run? Where are we at on the dirge situation?
Yeah, so it took us a little bit, but we finally beat Raphael. Got
Very
the fancy Helldusk armor that he drops, which is super OP on the armor class, except my character and none of the other characters can wear heavy armor. So that will be something that I basically forced my friend and I in our co-op campaign to go do, because my character in that campaign is Paladin Warlock. So she could wear heavy armor. So that will definitely be something that I'm doing again, but that fight was awful. Let's put it that way. It was not fun. Took me ages. And in and of itself, when I finally did it, it took me almost an hour. So
yeesh. Well, that is one thing about Baldur's Gate, is if you're going to play through it, be prepared for lengthy battles. It's going to be long and arduous, but if you're into it and you're enjoying the flow, the time will just kind of slip by without you even noticing. So that is definitely a perk of the battle system. Is it does take a lot of time, but it is totally worth it in the long run. So as far as things that I have been watching, playing, and reading, I am trying to really keep on top of this season of anime, and so I'm catching up on all sorts of different ones. I am currently watching, I watched today an anime that I was not expecting, in the form of Chained Soldier. It was number 5 on the top anime of whatever Facebook group I follow, and so I was like, I guess I should try this one. Who boy wasn't ready for that, what that show was about at all. So I don't know if I'll be continuing past the first episode of that one. I did watch, what's it called? It reminded me of Silent Voice. The main character is deaf in this one, and I can't remember, but it's a romance, and they're super cute, and I'm super into it. I'm going to continue going on with that one. I've been playing Palworld, and nothing but Palworld. I'm enjoying it so much. I had game plans, like I mentioned, before the show started. I wanted to get into Another Code. This is a game that's been on my backlog since I was a child and fell in love with Hotel Dusk, and so I've wanted to play this same game, never invested in it on the DS, and now I finally have invested in it, and Palworld has taken over my life. And then reading, I just started one of our Manga Spice Cafe manga, Night of the Living Cat. It's a 3 out of 5 stars at best, but it is the silliest thing I've ever seen. It's got me absolutely cracking up. It's exactly what you think. Instead of zombies, whenever cats cuddle humans, they turn into cats. And it takes itself so seriously that I cannot get enough of it. It's ridiculous. It's not anything that's going to like blow your mind with its story, but like this is an example of the joke right here on the title, Night of the Living Cat. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So it knows when to take itself seriously and when not to, and the characters are all like action heroes. Super funny. I'm enjoying it as far as manga go. So let us know in the comments what you've been watching, playing, and reading over the past week. But we're going to get into some of our trending headlines, some of the things that we've noticed going around the nerd world recently. We're going to start with a modder known as Toasted Shoes, who inserted Pokemon characters into the game Palworld, faced a takedown notice from Nintendo after sharing a teaser on social media. Palworld, often compared to Pokemon due to its monster-catching gameplay, is described as a crafting and survival game similar to Ark Survival Evolved and Valheim. Despite Palworld's developer Pocket Pair asserting the game's originality and legal clearance, the incorporation of Pokemon's characters by Toasted Shoes led to a swift reaction from Nintendo. The incident has sparked discussions about potential legal actions by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company against Palworld, which has achieved significant sales and player count. Modding communities like Nexus Mods are also taking precautions by removing Pokemon-related mods for Palworld, highlighting the complexities of intellectual property rights in the gaming world. Kind of a non-story, kind of obvious, like a duh. Like, of course it got taken down. Like, nobody's really surprised. I do wish I'd gotten my hands on the mod before it got removed, because it did look really fun. It looked like a good time. They basically, what they did was they modded in like one-to-one Pokemon based off of the random pals, but then they also took like the characters that are sitting by campfires that are NPCs that are friendly and replaced them with like Brock and Misty. So absolutely ridiculous. Totally not ever going to make it past. I should have gotten it before it was gone. I'm sure I could find it somewhere out there at this point, but yeah. That is probably where this one lives and dies. I really don't think we're going to see any kind of legal action taken against Palworld. I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to get in trouble. I don't think it's anything that deserves to have any kind of legality pinned against it. It's barely a Pokemon game. If anything, it could be compared to Arceus, but that's like, even that's kind of generous. So did you, I mean, were you surprised at all to hear this, Mayfly?
No, not at all. I knew it was going to happen when I heard about the mod, and about the time I heard about the mod, it's about the time that the mod was taken down. It was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I figured. I was actually talking to a coworker today, and she was like, she's not a huge gamer anymore, but she had been hearing about it and been keeping up with it. And she was like, I mean, you got to think about it this way. With Pokemon and Nintendo, it's so kid friendly and family friendly, and she'd seen all the screenshots of the biggest example I can think of, the butcher knife in Palworld that we were all
Right.
kind of memeing over
Yeah,
in the
pretty brutal.
Discord, right? And I kept saying my dirge definitely wrote all the descriptions for it, right? And so it's like they don't want anything that even could be remotely associated, or people could think that it would be associated with them in that sort of context as being negative or brutal in that sort of context towards an IP that is like theirs or related to theirs. Right. So it does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, just the general like vibe of the game is obviously not conducive.
Yeah,
I do think, you know, I was watching Humar Whittill and their One Geek 411 podcast last night, and talking about Palworld and talking about kind of the connections and how they might be, you know, on like muddy water. And I agree, but I also, again, I just think that it's just different. It's just a different experience. There are things that I wish, like Cam was saying last night, there are things that I wish that Pokemon would do from this game, but there's also a lot that I really don't. Like I don't know how much I really need a lot of the things that this game brought to the front, but I'm also having a heck of a good time with it. And if anything, it makes me miss the Pokemon spin-off games.
It hits a lot of more, what's the word I want to use? But mature or adult in a certain way that like Pokemon could never hit. Like the question that I asked when Cam was first streaming it on Cameron plus Sienna was, so does this game actually recognize the fact that the people eat the pals? Because we all know that they do that in Pokemon. Like they have to. There are no other animals. They have to do that. There's what else? They're not all vegetarians all the time. And so he was like, oh yeah, they absolutely do. So like it hits those certain points that and those places that Pokemon would never go because it is so kid friendly. And it's not afraid to go to those places. And also it is legally distinct enough that I don't think they could get in trouble. Like I used the example today of like I saw one of them that's like a Lapras mixed with a Bulbasaur, basically. It's like got the shape of a Lapras, but it's got like a flower on it like a Bulbasaur. That's two different things meshed together, but it's a legally distinct entity that it's not, you know what I mean? So
right. And it's also like Bulbasaur is based off of a bulldog with a, you know, bulb on its back. And so it's like it's also based off of real world things. And it's not like the Bulldog Association is suing Pokemon. Like it's just it's a silly thing. It's creativity is creativity. Some of it's better than others. It's so completely in another world. But the obvious ones like this, of course they're going to get taken down. So let us know your thoughts about Palworld. If you're thinking about playing it, if you're wanting to get into it. We're not talking about the AI controversy and the stuff that the boss has said that has gotten people up in flames for this one, but that could come up in future conversations. I don't see Palworld going anywhere in the next couple weeks. So a future Twig, they could light a real dumpster fire and we end up talking about it. But we'll find out from there.
Let's
Next
hope
up, we're
I'm
going to talk
not on
about.
that one.
Go ahead. I hope you're not
Let's
on
hope
that
I'm
one.
not on that.
Yeah. Well, last week I felt bad for Sneaky because like all of our news was about AI, and this week you got off pretty scot-free. I think there's like maybe one or two in there.
It did, but it's a good thing though, because you saw my conversation.
Yeah.
That's what we
It can
were
get
going
heated
hard
fast.
on that. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Riot Games. Riot Games is laying off approximately 530 employees, about 11% of its workforce, in response to unsustainable costs and a lack of focus, according to the CEO. This decision follows a period of rapid expansion and ambitious ventures since 2019, which have not yielded the expected returns. Riot is offering generous severance packages, including a minimum of 6 months' salary and additional benefits. Concurrently, the company is discontinuing its Riot Forge label, responsible for the indie games using Riot's IP, as it is not central to their future strategy. Key games like League of Legends, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, and Wild Rift will remain high priorities, while Legends of Runeterra will undergo downsizing due to financial challenges. These layoffs reflect a broader trend in the gaming industry, which has seen significant job losses and project cancellations, with 2024 already witnessing nearly 4,000 job cuts. This move by Riot Games highlights the challenges of maintaining sustainable growth in the volatile gaming industry. Now, I will say two things about this one is that I didn't include this just because of the workforce layoffs. We've talked a lot about that. There's no doubt that this is continued to be a bane of the gaming industry, but I actually think this is different. Like, I think this is not like all of the others. We've seen a lot of like financial decisions made. This was a like shot in the dark that Riot made a few years ago with these indie games. And I wish they had done better. I wish they'd lived up to the expectation, because I really thought that they went for it. I thought they were interesting enough. Like, all of the games got me intrigued enough to like play a couple of them. I know I played the very first one. I don't remember what it was called. And I'm thinking about playing the upcoming one. And it's just like, it's a bummer to see an entity like Riot that has the funds, that has the initiative, try something bold and see it fail. Like, it bums me out. It bums me out to see like workforce industry stuff already bums me out enough, but to see somebody going for it and falling really makes me sad about the industry. And I wish we would support our indie games better.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of it's also just a continuing thing when it comes to just the general gaming industry overall, tabletop and video combined, of hiring immensely pre and during pandemic times to give people opportunities and jobs, and then you've got to deal with, in this case for Riot, a lack of sustainability in their ventures. I can't even speak to what Wizards did, because we all know that was a bad idea. But like, you've got that's I mean, it's just what's happening, and so it's unfortunate, but
It disappoints me because, you know, I literally was just talking about how Palworld makes me want for Pokemon to take bigger risks with like their spinoff games like Pokemon Conquest and all of those things, like Mystery Dungeon. Like, I'd love a new Mystery Dungeon. But like, clearly, why would they, if Riot, which is one of the biggest in the games industry, even they can't do it. They try and it's a hit and a miss. So it's frustrating to see that the bigwigs aren't able to make it work in the indie scene. It makes me hope the indie scene will step up, or that we'll see more people take a chance on indie devs. But it's a big bummer, especially for my indie heart, like my indie loving heart. This is disappointing to see. So hopefully we'll see a turnaround and they'll figure things out, or these teams will go off and forge something new or start doing something new. I have no clue. Let's get into our Xbox Developer Direct.
yes, my Xbox child heart is here for this one. Although I did miss actually watching the direct, I did go back and watch it later. The 2024 Xbox Developer Direct showcased an exciting lineup of upcoming games, including the much anticipated, by me definitely, Hellblade 2, with the release date of May 21st, 2024, and the reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which looks good, but honestly it has kind of a weird title. Hellblade 2, initially announced for the Xbox Series X, promises enhanced visuals and gameplay. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle caught attention with its first-person perspective, puzzle solving, and iconic action elements, including a shift to third person for environmental traversal. Obsidian Entertainment gave insights into Avowed, which I'm also very pumped for. An RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, featuring diverse combat styles and deep narrative choices, slated for fall 2024. Square Enix's Visions of Mana, arriving in summer 2024, will be the Mana series' first release on Xbox, offering real-time action combat and a rich world exploration. Ara, History Untold, a strategy game by Oxide Games, is set to revolutionize the genre with simultaneous play mechanics and is due for release fall 2024. This event highlights Microsoft's robust and varied gaming portfolio for the year, promising exciting developments for Xbox and PC gamers. I am pumped.
Yeah, for something that was only like 4 games, they were all pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's good. I've been pumped for Avowed for ages. I'm an Obsidian fangirl, 100%, as we often argue about on the Discord. It's all at New Vegas. But yeah, I'm very pumped for Hellblade 2. Indiana Jones looks good, but I really think they could have come up with a better title.
Well, and your disdain for Todd Howard. I mean, I don't know how much he's going to be involved in that, but it's Machine Works. So
executive producer.
He's definitely involved, even if it's not directly his baby. It was very interesting looking. Like, it looked really good, and it's got, I think, Troy Baker.
Pretty,
is it Troy Baker as the lead? I think he's playing Indy.
So. I think it's Troy Baker. Yeah,
that's great. You know, good voice actor in that role, and
love Troy. Well. Troy's great.
Yeah.
So I don't have any issues with that. But yeah, the whole Todd thing and the title has thrown me off just slightly. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm very pumped for Hellblade, especially.
It was, for the most part, just kind of like a little peek behind the curtain. But I think it's also maybe something that should become a little bit more realistic with these directs. It's like, we shouldn't expect 47 games to be announced with every single direct. But Nintendo has kind of set us up for that, because they always do that, even though a lot of their games have already been announced. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was what we needed, and felt like a nice little peek behind the curtain of especially getting a date for Hellblade, because we've been waiting on that for a long time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's funny because my brother just started playing Hellblade, and I got him into it, and he called me the other day and he's telling me all about it and how much in love with it he is. He's a PlayStation gamer.
I'm very interested to see how it does. I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be great, funny. And I hope it is as good as the first one, if not exceeding expectations.
Me too.
All right, into some more gaming news. Seth Daniel and Jamie Walker, founders of Rocksteady Studios, renowned for the critically acclaimed Batman Arkham series, have established a new London-based game development studio called 100 Star Games. The new venture focuses on creating AAA games with a team of 100 industry veterans and promising new talents. Several former Rocksteady employees have already joined 100 Star Games as indicated in their LinkedIn profiles. Rocksteady, which achieved fame with titles like Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight, was acquired by Warner Brothers in 2010. The move by Hill and Walker, who left Rocksteady in October 22 amidst the development of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, signifies a significant shift in their careers and in the gaming landscape. Although the specifics of 100 Star Games' upcoming projects remains unknown, the gaming community anticipates innovative contributions from this new studio, given the founders' track record with Rocksteady. You know, I think this is interesting enough. I'm always curious to hear about a new like gaming venture being formed. I'm always curious to see a studio and to see how long it'll be before they're inevitably like acquired by Xbox. Like, when are they going to get bought? But I low key, like, I love the Arkham games, but I'm not quite sure I love the Arkham games for the game part or for the Batman part. And if they don't get another Batman story, like, do I really care what Rocksteady does? Maybe. It really depends on the character. Maybe they can come up with a whole new IP. I think I'd be more down for that than probably anything else they could do, unless they're able to somehow secure Batman outside of the Warner Brothers franchising. But it's interesting enough.
Yeah. I only played Arkham Asylum. It was fine.
I love it. But I love Batman. And I love the story, the story building, the world building.
Yeah, I have. You and I disagree on a lot of things already. I could add Batman to the list, but I won't currently.
Just as a character in general, or these games?
As character in general. So, I mean, it's cool. I think the interesting part about this article and this like breakdown is industry veterans and new talents. Isn't that every studio?
Right. Yeah, that's just kind
Isn't
of
that
the way it
every?
is.
Isn't that just how studios work?
I
Like
was
you have
surprised by
veterans
the
and you
team
have
size.
new people.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty
that's fair.
hefty
Yeah.
team. Now, granted, they're saying AAA games, so they're already like setting their focus on AAA titles, but 100
Yeah.
is like that's nothing to shake a stick at. And
That's fair.
it could create some really good stuff. I'm curious again just to see how long it takes and when we start hearing more about them. The two names, Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker, are not names that stand out to me. And so that's a concern as well, is like you think about like a Kojima or somebody that starts their own studio and has like the name. Like, sure, they have these games behind them, but I'm not sure if they have like the celebrity, which unfortunately
Yeah.
seems to matter, especially in the AAA scene. So
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see where this one goes, but at least we now know to keep an eye on 100-star games and hear what they might announce first. Okay. Next up, we have a little bit of news coming out of the surprise Until Dawn universe. Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions are collaborating to bring the 2015 horror game Until Dawn to the big screen, with director David F. Sandberg, known for Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and Shazam, at the helm. The film adaptation of this supermassive game's title will see Gary Dauberman, noted for his work on horror series like It and Annabelle, contributing to the script. Until Dawn is a PS4 exclusive, offering a choose-your-own adventure experience where players guide 8 young adults trying to survive a night on a snowy mountain. The game's narrative and character fates hinge on player decisions, similar to Supermassive's other titles in the Dark Pictures anthology. The movie adaptation is part of a broader trend on transforming PlayStation IPs into films and TV shows, following projects like The Last of Us, Twisted Metal, Gran Turismo, and Uncharted. The announcement of Until Dawn's adaptation reflects the growing intersection of video games and film, highlighting the potential of interactive storytelling in traditional media formats. I liked Until Dawn. It was a good game. I don't think it was a great game, and I definitely don't think it's good enough to be a movie. Like, I think the movie's going to be okay at best, but it's going to miss the elements that made the game good.
Here was my initial thing when I think someone posted this in the Discord or something. I enjoyed Until Dawn. I also enjoyed that it kicked off Supermassive, who is one of my favorite studios now. Like, all their other games have been pretty good. I've played them all. I intend to continue playing them all. I like some more than others, but overall, I've really enjoyed myself. The problem with turning something like Until Dawn or any other supermassive title, The Devil in Me, or House of Ashes, or any of the other ones, versus something like The Last of Us into a film or a television adaptation is Until Dawn is, yes, there is technically a canonical ending, but the entire thing is based on player decisions. Everything you do with every character is based on player decisions. So with something like The Last of Us, with a traditional, base storyline that you follow as a player, you can adapt that because it's not like the player can choose to do something else. It's written in stone what the player needs to do. But you take something like Until Dawn, which has so many dialogue choices, like physical choices for the characters to do, places for the characters to go, things you can see, things you can't see in a first playthrough, and you try and translate something like that, and it's not going to, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to basically pick a road and stick with it. And I don't think that's going to satisfy everybody who enjoyed the game.
Yeah,
Because some people
crazy.
enjoyed different endings rather than others. You know what I mean? Not everybody enjoyed the canonical ending with, the house burning down and the Wendigo. Spoiler alert, but that game's super old. But like, not everybody enjoyed that ending with getting everybody out alive and burning the house down with the Wendigos inside and figuring out it was the twins and like the whole shebang. Like, not everybody enjoyed that. Somebody, certain people didn't like certain characters, and so they would purposely kill them off. Like, it just depended on what you did, right? And how do you translate that? You can't.
Yeah, it's wild that this story came up because I was literally just watching an anime called A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bounds of the Universe or something. It's a really long title, an unnecessarily long title, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And it did exactly what you were just saying. So it was originally a visual novel, and the perk of the visual novel is that there was time travel and decisions being made. And so there were a lot of different routes that it was known for, but the anime adaptation chose one ending. And not only that, they actually kind of made their own ending. And so the first 5 episodes followed the visual novel beat for beat. And then everything from that point on, they made their own decisions, and people hated it. And so it's like,
Yeah.
it is a critically
Yep.
panned anime, but I know that as the very popular video game. And so I was like, well, I'll just save myself time and watch the anime instead of playing the game. And now I feel like I've got to go back and play the visual novel because clearly the anime is no good. So it is crazy, but I do think these two stories relate pretty well. The example of
Yeah.
like, you can't really do a branching narrative well whenever it comes to asynchronous live media. Like, I just don't
Yeah.
think that works. The Last of Us has its story. There are so many games that have their story, but if you're
Yep.
going to have branching narratives, it's going to suffer all around. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they know what they're doing. I think that everybody was surprised by Twisted Metal and how it did. I know that Uncharted did not do very well. Obviously, Last of Us, outperformed everything we could have ever imagined. But
Yeah.
I'm sure this will hit a certain market just fine, and maybe it'll be the trend that'll kick it off. But I also, whenever I think of supermassive games, I think of mocap, and like that's kind
Yeah.
of like, what's the point? What's the point anymore?
Yeah.
If they're not telling their narratives through a mocap style, like what are we even doing anymore? So it'll be strange. All right, take it away with your favorite person and your favorite studio next.
When my favorite. Okay, so Pinky, head of Larian Studios, known for Baldur's Gate 3, if you guys weren't aware, has voiced strong opposition, same, to the growing trend of video game subscription services. In a series of tweets, Vinky emphasized the importance of direct interaction between developers and players, expressing concerns about subscription models potentially dictating the market and limiting creative freedom. He argues that such models focused on profit maximization could lead to a monopoly, severely impacting game discoverability and diversity. Vinky reiterated Larian Studios' commitment to not releasing their games on subscription services, which I'm fine with, citing the value of their games in the absence of microtransactions. So true. This stance aligns with previous comments he made about Baldur's Gate 3 not launching on Xbox Game Pass. The debate over subscription services is intensifying in the gaming industry, with opinions divided. Some developers, like Miles Jacobson of Sports Interactive, credit services like Game Pass for bringing new audiences to their games, while others, including PlayStation's Ryan and companies like Rockstar and Take-Two, express reservations about the impact on game quality and revenue models. Vinky's comments highlight a critical discussion in the gaming industry about the balance between accessibility, profitability, and creative integrity. If those of you who are on the Discord will probably have already seen my comments. I agree, not just because I love and support the studio and the creative heads behind it, but because I am also somebody who doesn't use subscription services for my games. I am a person who prefers to own my games. Before things started to really, really hit digital, I physically bought all my games. I still have all of my Xbox games I've ever owned. Like, most of the things I played up until I got my gaming PC were on Xbox and were physical disc titles. If I couldn't find it on disc at a store, I would try and order it. If I couldn't do that, I would wait until I could order it somewhere or wait until I could find it at a store. I'm the type of person who prefers to own the thing that I am playing. And the only time I think I have ever, and I said this on the Discord too, the only time I've ever used something like Game Pass was to try something I was unsure about, and I only would pay for like the 1 month for $1. I'd give them $1 for a month. I'd try out something like Lies of P, for instance, something I tried out. And I was like, okay, I enjoy this. I'm gonna go buy it. So I would go buy it. And then that would be at the end of it. And then at the end of the month, like when they go to charge me X amount of money, I would just cancel it. That's the only time I've ever used it. And I've only done that a couple of times. Because I think when you hit that point, yeah, exactly. Like Perry's saying, like I understand the discoverability and accessibility points, and those are definitely valid. But for me, it's the option of owning the thing, and And I think in circumstances like Larian's games, like they want to be consumer focused and not necessarily profit focused. And I think a lot of leaning towards subscription services is leaning towards the hope that the subscription services will pay out better. And I don't necessarily believe that that's the case personally, but that's just me. So
yeah,
that's
I'm on
end of
I'm on the
TikTok.
fence here purely because I do think that Xbox Game Pass is probably the best deal in gaming. And I grew up with the like blockbuster movie gallery experience of going and like temporarily having games anyway. And so I don't know. I don't know if there's a corollary between that. Like I'm used to not owning games. I always owned my very favorites. And so like I would buy the latest Pokemon game, I would buy the latest Harvest Moon, but like pretty much everything else, no. The only thing I regret about that is actually selling consoles over anything else. And so it is such a tough thing to like work around and figure out. I think that for somebody just getting into gaming or for people that truly just like can't fiscally make regular purchasing of games work, I think that Game Pass is a really good option and could be something that would be very strong. I think it's the best subscription service of games. I do like PlayStation Plus. I think they do a good enough job, but Xbox Game Pass is so accessible that I can play it from my phone and play it from my phone easily. So it's a weird dance between the two things. I agree for sure with wanting to maximize creative integrity, but in a world where we're also constantly seeing all these people being fired from the industry, it is so clear that there are bigger problems for profitability than subscription services. There is a top-down thing that's going on that is abusing the workers and abusing the system, and I think that this sure might be one thing that impacts that, but it's further in the house where the leak is. And so we got to find the bigger issues. But I do agree that creative integrity should be maximalized. And I like to see games choosing and discerning to not be on Game Pass than just everything showing up on Game Pass. It's a weird thing to dance around. Like, I feel like I don't want to take too hard of a stance either way, because I definitely see, kind of like you were saying, I see both sides of the argument. And I think both are super valid, and we just got to kind of hope that people can be good people instead of bad people with it, and let us trust in the system as best as we possibly can. Let us know in the chat if you have thoughts about any of these news stories. We're going to move into my very favorite and also your very favorite segment of the show, Cryptic Critiques. That's right. It's time for Cryptic Critiques, where we find 1-star reviews of arguably 5-star games, or at least very popular video games out there, much beloved games out there. And so we have 3 prompts for this one, 3 1-star reviews for this game that we're going to see if Mayfly is able to guess. If you want to play along in the chat, maybe just type it in the chat box, but don't enter it until Mayfly gets a chance to offer up her guess. But we're going to go through these 3 prompts. Again, these are 1-star reviews for a much beloved game to see if we can guess what it is. The first prompt: the same as the prior game in the franchise, but with HBO writing. Don't play. 1-star review: the same as the prior game in the franchise, but with HBO writing. Don't play. Prompt number 2: a terrible game, but it's not their fault. And then my favorite, this one, if it doesn't give it away, once you know what it is, you'll think this is so silly and you'll understand my sense of humor. Prompt number 3: didn't even fall once. Didn't even fall once, not a single time. So those are your 3 prompts. The same as the prior game in the franchise, but with HBO writing. Don't play. Prompt number 2: a terrible game, but it's not their fault. Prompt number 3: didn't even fall once. Mayfly, do you know what game it is?
So I had a theory when I looked at this.
A game theory?
Don't make me sad. I had a theory initially because last time I was on Twig, you tried to get me with A Life is Strange and I got it. So when I saw the first one initially, I thought we were going for Before the Storm.
Was really
because
good Before the Storm. It was so good.
But now with that last one and your earlier comments in Discord, I feel like we're headed in a different direction.
What are you thinking? Where's your brain going? Where does the theory lead? The threads, where do they pull?
So the theory, the third prompt caught me off guard earlier, but then you said the third prompt and you like added a little bit to it, and now I'm thinking back to thinking back to your earlier comments in the Discord in question of the day, and now it's making me think. Now it's making me think differently.
Okay, let's see what you got.
So it either is that you're going for where you were going last time, and you're continuing and making another Life is Strange game.
I need to edit back in. I need to edit back into the B-roll here of the like mathematics going through your brain of like going off into the distance, like Sherlock style.
Or same as prior game in the franchise. Which one came out first?
I will say that you will really like the second prompt once you learn what it is. You'll be happy with that review.
I'll be happy with the second review.
Yes. Once you get the joke.
Because I think it's...
You would probably... You wouldn't agree with the second prompt, but you would at least see what they're saying.
I wouldn't agree, but
I will say this is a game that I know that you love. If that helps and doesn't give it away too much. Go with your gut. What you got? Take a shot in the dark. Let's see it.
Did this come out first or did the other one come out first? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh. Is it New Vegas?
It is indeed Fallout New Vegas. You got it.
Knew it.
Congratulations. Let us know in the chat if you also got Fallout New Vegas. Yes, I thought that with your disdain of Bethesda, whenever you heard it's not their fault, that you would probably agree. And then prompt number three cracks me up so much. It's Fallout, and they didn't even fall once. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and I live for it.
Yeah.
If Cam is still here, Cam probably did not appreciate, but I love it so much.
Sorry, the dog really agreed with that.
Yeah, a big fan of puns. A big fan of puns.
Big fan of puns, Nuggets.
It was tough to find 1-star reviews for this one, not because they weren't there, but because they were awfully mean. And I always try to I want these to be funny reviews. I don't want them to make people sad about their favorite games. So yeah, I thought these were all at least somewhat interesting and somewhat funny based off of whatever they might have been. But congratulations.
Yeah, those are my two. And I had to really think and be like, well, did 3 come out? Or I had to think of dates there. I was like, was it 3 first or was it New Vegas first? And I was like, no, 3 was 2008 and Vegas was 2010.
I do like where you were headed with Life is Strange. That was a good point. I almost went with an Assassin's Creed.
It would have worked.
I almost went with an Assassin's Creed game for yours, but people don't like Assassin's Creed. And so those 1-star reviews were absolutely brutal. Nobody had even
Black Flag, though. If you had done Black Flag, I bet you would have found some nicer ones.
Maybe so.
That one's a well-loved one. They're actually remaking it, Ubisoft.
Well,
so.
I have to wait just long enough for you to forget that you told me that, and then I'll do that one next time.
Fair.
The time when you finally forget. All right, so that has been Cryptic Critiques. Thanks for playing along. I hope that you all enjoyed that. If you guessed it, congratulations. Lots of chats in the clap for Mayfly grabbing that one. With that, we're going to move into our next segment of the show, which is, of course, to the Discord, all of the good things happening over on the Discord. If you would like to submit news to us, then you can go to our Discord, !Discord in the chat. Go to Ask Questions, Get Answers every single Monday. I ask for what news you care about this week, and we'll talk about it on the show. So this week, I think we actually have three news stories from Twyla back to back to back. So we'll start with our first one about Netflix. Netflix is stepping away from its interactive show format, a decision highlighted by Netflix games head Mike Verdu. The strategic pivot focuses on interactive narrative games, aiming to offer a more immersive experience. The initiative follows insights gained from their pioneering interactive show, Black Mirror Bandersnatch. The technology behind these interactive specials was seen as limiting, prompting Netflix to explore new avenues in the gaming market. Future plans include developing games based on popular shows and considering in-game advertising and purchases. This shift exemplifies Netflix's commitment to innovation and adapting the evolving entertainment landscape. Yeah. Yeah, Perry says, "Oh no, that thing, it was
Harry, yeah,
terrible and didn't work. They're abandoning it. Oh no." I never
yeah.
actually watched Bandersnatch. I have no
I didn't
idea if it
either.
was any good.
No.
I can imagine it not being good. However, considering our conversation earlier about Until Dawn, that's actually a place where maybe it would be okay. Like I think that the branching narrative, if it's implemented well, that would be the
Yeah.
way to do it. Would be through a TV show and an interactive program. I just think they probably weren't there yet. Like they weren't ready for it. I do have to give kudos to Netflix for really sticking their guns to games and like not giving up after 1 year of no success. Like they've bought up games, they've created games, they've backed games, they've developed games, they've inspired games. It's pretty good for the fact that Luna from Amazon lasted like a couple days. So pretty good, not too bad. And maybe we'll see some different steps in the future when the time is right. Any thoughts on this one, Mayfly?
Uh, no, I also never saw Bandersnatch, so I never got into Black Mirror. We don't have Netflix, so
Gotcha. That'll do it. It was one that just
yeah.
totally missed me. I don't remember why, but something about it just was like, I don't have time for this right now. I don't know when. Maybe it came out alongside another, like a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure.
I remember hearing about it when it came out, and what I heard was decent enough. I follow Amanda the Jedi on YouTube. She's great when it comes to movie and like television show reviews and season overviews and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure she did a video on it, and that's about the extent of my knowledge on it. And that was when it came out, and that's why I don't remember anything.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. We'll see how they innovate next, but a bit of a bummer to see them getting rid of something. Hopefully, it allows them to focus more on finding more games and letting us see more things. I've still got to play. I can't remember what the game. I know that Perry loves it. The one with I think that's like a radio or something. I can't remember the name of the game, but eventually I'm going to play. It's the sequel that came to Netflix. So one of these days, going to get back into some of those games. Oxenfree 2. So Oxenfree 2. Netflix helped make that happen and make it real. So cool. Next up, Harmonix. Harmonix, acquired by Epic Games, has announced the end of downloadable content, or DLC, for Rock Band 4, ending an impressive 8-year run with nearly 3,000 songs added. Set to cease on January 25th, this move marks a significant shift in music gaming. Players can still access previously purchased songs, and Harmonix is integrating Rock Band 4 instruments into the Fortnite Festival mode, ensuring the music legacy continues in new forms. The final DLC for Rock Band 4 will feature emotionally resonant songs, reflecting the end of this iconic chapter in music gaming. When was the last time you played Rock Band, Mayfly?
I don't think I've ever played a Rock Band
never?
game.
Oh,
No.
I definitely played Rock
No.
Band, but I think I probably maybe played Rock Band 3. Maybe.
I
Definitely
was
never
a
touched.
summer day camp DDR kid, if that helps. And I was
DDR.
great at Beethoven, if that tells you anything. Like Beethoven, like super hard mode, like I back of my hand knew it.
Yeah,
So.
I enjoyed them a lot. I enjoyed Guitar Hero a lot, but it just kind of reached like I feel like the era is already ended. I understand that they're like saying a fond farewell, but like it's been over.
I want to know what they mean by emotionally resonant.
Right?
Because that
How
means
brutal are these
different things
songs?
for different people as well, you know? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I guess
Like emotionally
really...
resonant to me is like the XX or like Daughter or like certain Panic at the Disco. What do you mean by emotionally resonant Harmonix, right?
There is really no telling what that's going to be or how it's going to actually impact or how many people, again, are still playing. I have not tried the Guitar Hero function on Fortnite, but it is interesting to see like, the timing is strange here. Like, how curious that Harmonix would end DLC for Rock Band 4 as soon as Fortnite adds in their Guitar Hero mode. What are the odds? Like, it's pretty clear what they're doing, shifting their focus and taking Harmonix and bumping Fortnite up.
People had to have been playing it for the past 8 years consistently, at least.
For them to keep up with DLC.
For them to keep up with it, yeah.
I don't know. Very strange. Yeah, Xando does play the custom hero or whatever it's called. And so he definitely has maintained the sense. And Xando is also amazing at it. So that helps. Like, I was never that good at Guitar Hero Rock Band. I just enjoyed them. So I don't know. I have heard they're going to bring the plastic games into the Fortnite, or the plastic accessories and instruments into Fortnite. So maybe this will be a revolution in the music and rhythm game industry, and I can get my nephew his own Guitar Hero thing, and we'll have fun with it. Maybe they'll do the Beatles thing again. I really want the whatever Paul McCartney's like Rickenbacker bass. I want that. I always wanted that, and I never got the Beatles one. So that would be real fun to have. But yeah, curious stuff. Let us know if you were still playing Rock Band out there, and if you're just super emotionally prepared for those emotionally resonant songs. That we're going to the last bit of news here, our Squeenix news. Square Enix, led by President Takashi Kiryu, is shifting its focus to developing fewer but higher quality and more diverse games. This strategy, aimed at avoiding resource splintering experienced in 2022 with titles like Valkyrie Elysium and Harvestella, also includes reducing reliance on major franchises like Final Fantasy. Highlighting, I can't believe this is a real sentence, highlighting the success of unique titles like Power Wash Simulator, Kiryu's plan is to part of a broader effort to stabilize the company following a period of mismanagement. Though these changes might not be immediately evident in Squeenix's 2024 releases, which include Foam Stars and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they signal a significant shift towards enhancing game quality and creative diversity. Yeah. Perry makes a great point. Square Enix has made some weird choices in the past year, and this is just a list on top of the pile of like, what are they doing? What is the conversation that is happening in those offices?
I mean, Square Enix did publish the Tomb Raider reboots, so with Crystal Dynamics. So I mean, it's not always been Final Fantasy, but it has always been Final Fantasy. So.
Well, and I mean, you've got the ones listed, right there. We've got Kingdom Hearts, we've got Nier there. So, like, there are certainly plenty of Square Enix titles out there, but they've
Kingdom Hearts is just Final Fantasy, but not.
Right. They've kind of been obsessed with re-releasing things. And so I think that's probably where they've really taken a turn and a nosedive. And I'm curious to see if we'll continue to see that, or if that's kind of what they're getting at here. Like, we're going to stop putting so much effort into revitalizing our old franchises and instead start doing some new things. We'll see. Time will tell where this one actually continues to go, but it's definitely been, Square Enix has had just a weird year. Just a weird year of up and down and back and forth and NFTs and AI and mess after mess after mess. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they're going. They're an iconic franchise. They're not going anywhere, but I don't know where they are going. They're staying with us, but there's really no telling what they're actually going to be doing with the energy and the time and the money that they have.
I don't know how much it matters, though, that they're Square Enix.
Yeah, they're going to survive. They're going to do just fine. And I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. So
yeah. Yep.
Hopefully this means good things for us, the gamers. Like they're going to focus more on diversity and making better games. So good. It's a win for us. Let's talk less about NFTs now, and let's not have any more AI scares, and then we'll be good. With that has been our final nerdy news story for this time. So we're going to get into my personal favorite segment of the show.
At this point in nerd history.
That's right. It's time for At This Point in Nerd History. Mayfly, this is pretty short.
I saw that.
Do you want to take games? I'll take TV and movie.
Sure. Sounds good. Games starting off in 2018 with My Time at Porsche and Staxel. And in 2004, Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Kind of surprised you let me read that one off, Nate, but that's all right.
Such a good game. Ace Attorney. Every Ace Attorney game is the best game. Not necessarily. TV shows. 1983, going way back in time, was the debut of The A-Team. And then 1977, Roots debuted on ABC. So two kind of iconic television shows there. And then maybe this is just an iconic movie for me. I don't know if everybody loves this movie or if it's just myself. But 2004, The Butterfly Effect came out. Ashton Kutcher there. I really enjoyed this movie.
I know
such a weird one. So morbid. The dog scene gets me every time. If you know, you know.
Yep.
And this was a good one. I really enjoyed The Butterfly Effect a lot. I liked how weird it got. And it's crazy to me to think that like 2004, 20 years ago, that was 20 years old. That just doesn't feel
crazy.
Right. And that it came out on the same day as Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations is just weird. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing to think about. I remembered both My Time at Porsche and Staxel releasing on the same day when they released. Like that's one, because I'm so tuned into farming games. Like I vividly remember that for some reason. And that's kind of a weird little factor about that one. I never played Staxel. I did play my time at Porsche. It was okay. And Staxel did pretty well, and then nobody talked about it again. So I wonder what happened to that company, if they ever tried to make another game and it just flopped, or what the deal was. But interesting stuff. All right. With that, let us know if any of those games, TVs, or movies did anything for you. We're going to go into our upcoming releases, which is now 3 things. Let's get into it. All right, upcoming releases. Mayfly and I have both picked 3 things that are happening in the next week that we are particularly excited about and want to share with you. So we're going to go one at a time, starting with Mayfly. Your number 1, please.
Oh, yay. Okay. Well, this actually released today, but I didn't know about it because I don't keep up as well as I should because Baldur's Gate is all I play. So Graven came out today. It is a dark fantasy FPS. Currently, it's got some mixed reviews from early access, but most of them that are familiar with the devs say basically just wait an update or 2 and just see what happens. But it looks beautiful. And it looks like it, for the most part, plays really well. It looks like a lot of the issues that people are having currently have to do with the placing of checkpoints right near hazardous areas or right near enemies. So when you get knocked out or you die, you basically respawn with half your health right next to something that's immediately ready to kill you. So waiting for some fixes before I delve into that one. But it looks really fun and it looks really good. So
very interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've never heard of this one. I looked it up and I've never heard of it or seen it. So I'm very curious. It's definitely the dark fantasy genre and the FPS genre are 2 that don't necessarily mix with my steez in general. But interesting enough, and I'm curious about it. My first one, speaking of Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations moments ago, the Ace Attorney Apollo Justice trilogy releases this week. And I'm super excited because what this means is that we've got remastered versions of that trilogy coming out, which means streamers are going to be streaming it. So I get to watch more Ace Attorney. And I already watch way too many Let's Plays of Ace Attorney. I looked them up. It is my favorite thing to watch. I don't care how many times I've watched it. It's my favorite thing. And Apollo Justice is a great trilogy. I don't think it's as good as the original Ace Attorney trilogy, but it is a lot of fun, except for the 3rd game, which gets a little weirdly racist. So aside from that one, the first trilogy is really good, and parts of the 2nd trilogy are a lot of fun. So with that, let's go into your second one here.
Second one is called The Witch's Cauldron. It is out tomorrow, the 24th. It is a narrative roguelike. It looks super cute, also super up my alley. Because if y'all know anything about me, anything fantasy or fantasy adjacent is what I grew up on and is entirely my vibe. So it looks super cute, and you play as a little witch, and you solve some puzzles, and you do some stuff, and you do some magic, and it looks cute, and it looks fun.
This one does look up my alley.
Yeah.
I do love roguelikes, and this one does look super cute. Very cute. Nice. Well, I'll have to see how that one does. I'll keep that one on the outskirts of my mind and see how the narrative does and see how it scores. Yeah. My number 2 is a game that is releasing this week called Anomaly Agent. If any of you remember the game Katana Zero that came out, I think in 2019, maybe, but it was kind of like Hotline Miami, but 2D platformer. This looks very similar to Katana Zero and the kind of gore style of platformers set in a cyberpunk setting. And I think it looks neat. I love indie games, and I especially love indie games that remind me of some of my favorite games ever made. And Katana Zero was an exceptional game. So hopefully this one has a really good story. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm going to put it on the wish list, see how it does after some time and some scores and some stars get given. But this one looks like a super fun one that I'm very curious about. Your last one, Mayfly.
It's called Dracula Awakens because spooky things are fun. It is a retro survival horror, but I will more than likely attempt to watch people play rather than play because I am a scaredy cat when it comes to actually playing horror games myself. I've tried many, many times, sometimes on stream. So very few people have seen it, but I'm a big scaredy cat. But I thoroughly enjoy watching other people get scared. So we'll see.
Oh man,
but it's super retro, super like Dracula in his castle.
Or Dracula Awakening?
Awakens.
Okay.
Plural.
Everything that's coming
Yes.
up is Dracula Awakening, which I think is like a slots, like gambling.
No, it's not that one.
I keep
It's
seeing
not that one.
cards and like this 90s aesthetic art style. Very
No,
weird.
it's a PC demo. It's all super retro. It looks really good. They put out a demo in 2023. Basically, something about it, his wife is chasing you around the castle. You have to use a camera to like find your way around and stuff. It looks kind of terrifying. So,
Interesting.
great.
Well, I do like
Good.
horror games, but I don't like. I never find that they live up to the story hype for me. Like
Fair.
I enjoyed the Choo Choo Charles or whatever. Like I enjoy that
That was
style
fun.
of game, but it's like I'm not gonna go sit at home and play that game.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
not it's a good stream game, but beyond like taking it home and sitting down and really tearing apart the analysis of this one is like, it's probably not gonna be it for me.
That's how I am. Yeah. Like I would stream it if I was streaming still. Maybe one of these days.
The good
But
times.
it's not something that I would probably play on my own. But I definitely will watch people play.
There you go. Well, my final one is not a game or a movie or a TV show, but it's something that is happening, a convention happening in Charlotte this weekend, Tantrum Con, that I will be at with some of our Checkpoint or Checkpoint adjacent folks. I'm super looking forward to that. Going playing some board games and doing a ton of fun stuff during that time. So yes, Chris will be there along with many members of like I said, our adjacent groups of Love Thy Nerd and Moviga and all sorts of places like that. Trombone will be there. So it's going to be a great time, and I'm looking forward to a con. I don't get to go very often, so whenever I do get to go, I super enjoy my time. So let us know what you're looking forward to playing, or if any of our 6 things that we just listed sound interesting to you. But with that, we're going to move in to our final segment of the show. If I can find it, where is it? I got to find it there. Yeah! That's right. It is time for our meme of the week. Our meme of the week is one, thank you so much, from me. I so appreciate your votes and reactions on this one. This was such a mood I've never felt so seen in my entire life. It is a guy staring at his computer. Program is not responding, and so he clicks and clicks and clicks, and then somehow mysteriously the issue is resolved because it took 317 clicks to correct the error. And that is just a hashtag mood situation. I cannot tell you how many times I've done that, especially with like video editing software. Anytime it'll freeze up, like I'll just sit there clicking at it a million times thinking, surely this click will be the one that solves it. So a good goof, a good time. If you would like your meme to be considered for our meme of the week next week, simply use our memes and goofs channel of our Discord. And I typically use whatever gets the most reactions there. With that, before we move into our time of closing notes, Mayfly, any shout outs, anything you want to let us know, anything at the end of the show before we wrap up?
Play BG3. And if you need a game guide, I'm in the Discord. I have
well, if there's any
500
game
hours.
that needs hype, it's surely Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, absolutely. If you need a game guide, I'll offer my services.
There we go. So that is not only some advice, also where to find you. So if you want to get in touch with Mayfly, the Discord is the best place. And odds are she's playing BG3 or working or sleeping or eating. Those are the 4 things that the Mayfly do. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Things I would bet money on. X Mayfly plugging BG3, 100%. Folks,
Yes.
with that, we're going to wrap up the show here. This has been Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch every single week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you likely enjoyed this one, so remember to give us a 5-star on your podcast app, click that like button, and recommend the show to your favorite nerds out there. There will be Twig next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. on Twitch. Be sure to join us live for good conversation and good times together. With that, we're going to close this show as we always do with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, we still believe these 3 things to be true about every single one of you. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you, we want community with you. Number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time, that is the Bye-bye.
Bye.